This program was first broadcast on Canterbury's access media station, Plains FM, and was made with the assistance of New Zealand On Air.
I'm really excited because Kate is back from maternity leave and we are going to talk about her new mumming adventures and how it's felt bringing Asha into the world, into her family, and how that's all been going. Thanks for joining us for Being Real Parents with me, Anna, and my colleague and buddy,
Kate. We work in the parenting space.
And it's here where we'll talk about our worlds as parents, the good, the not so good, and the hilarious, and mix this with what we know about behaviour and psychology. New mumming!
Yay! Back here. And don't have Asha with me today, which is actually making me feel a lot calmer.
But I'm really disappointed.
You wanted the cuddles?
I did, yeah. Straight back from maternity leave.
Yep.
Into it.
Straight into it. Yeah.
I really am keen to hear about your experiences as a new mama.
Yeah. So, it's real, eh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I said to someone at the supermarket yesterday, actually, they were like, I remember when my baby was that little, and I was like, yeah, my oldest is 5, and I feel like I've just gone right back to the start, which is beautiful, but also like, oh, you remember all of the things. You're like, the sleepless nights, the tricky bits as well.
Yes. Yeah. I've got a stepchild in between, but there's 10 years between my two children.
Yeah.
And I remember it being a bit like deja vu. I think I've been here before, but why don't I remember properly?
Yeah.
Or this, it just feels familiar, but it's not, I haven't quite got a plan around it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep, definitely. Like that, I remember this. I think I blocked that out.
And what did I do? Where was that wee diary I wrote for myself?
Yeah. But also, what's really reassuring is because you've done it before, you're like, this actually goes really fast. Yeah. And they're not going to be in this stage for that long. Yeah. And before you know it, you'll be dealing with a new stage.
Yeah.
So there's that like real challenging, like, oh my gosh, this again. But then also like, oh, how could I maybe even try and enjoy this? Because it's going to be over before I know it.
So good.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of the grandparent perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that they come to things just kind of, they've just got this sort of nonchalant attitude to everything.
Yeah.
Because they have that perspective of, we got through it. If we can do it, anyone can.
Yeah. Yeah. And the second does just get kind of, or second or third, after the first, you kind of are just like, oh, sorry, we've got to do this. Like school pickup, school drop-off, you know? Like there's no way I was taking Willow out on a frosty cold morning, but you're like, come on, mate.
But you're different. You've got a sister who needs to get places and do things.
We got to get to school, like.
Yeah. And there's no leeway with school, whereas with preschool you had that little bit of wriggle. I know, we did that well, didn't we? Gosh.
Yeah, so I had a couple of months where I had that wriggle room, which was probably the most challenging with Willow just adapting to having a sibling anyway. Yeah. So that was nice that I had a little bit of preschool, but then for her starting school and getting a sibling within months of each other, like huge things.
Huge. Milestones.
Massive things. Let's just do all the things.
The things that we remember for our lifetime.
Yeah. Let's just do them all at once. But she's absolutely nailing it when I think about it.
I'm really keen to talk to you about the sibling thing as well, and we will get to that. But that sort of adapting into that world of uniting your two children so that they love each other rather than hate each other.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's also, there's some moments for sure.
Yeah. Again, a lifetime of moments when you've got a sibling, eh?
Yeah, I'm about to find out.
Yeah. I really love you, but God, I hate you right now.
Yeah, the joys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed bag on all fronts, really.
Best bits?
Best bits, the newborn snuggles and actually like enjoying them more. I feel like, because you know how fast that goes.
Yeah.
The walks in the pram with the sleeping baby.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you realise that they become toddlers and they won't go on the pram, and the next minute you're like pushing the pram and carrying the toddler, and
That's right.
so like you enjoy those
The pram
moments
becomes
where you're
basically
like,
a shopping trolley.
the baby's actually asleep and you're like, oh, this is
I
like,
don't need to do anything.
I'm on holiday.
Yeah, they're contained and quiet. Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Any other brilliant bits? I mean, I'm sure.
You're like the newborn cuddles and the sleeping baby. That's
Full stop.
the very cute moments between watching Willow with him.
Yeah.
That's pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is beautiful, isn't it? You don't realise that your child is actually missing out on something when they don't have a sibling until they have a sibling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
for
what
sure.
I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a gorgeous moment the other day. My eldest is back from university, and Lulu and her were just hanging out in the living room, and I came downstairs and they both had a guitar in their hands. Oh. So I went, this is why I had you both. That's why I remember spending huge amounts of money on your music lessons.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, those moments make it worth a day.
Yep.
You're listening to Being Real Parents with Kate and Anna on Plains FM 96.9.
So tell me about what you're doing, like proactively doing, to support your children to be good buddies.
Yeah. What am I proactively doing? I think it started when I was pregnant.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
So lots of chat about it. Although really looking back, I don't know. You know, like, what do you even talk? I don't even know what this is. She doesn't know what it's going to look like. But using books, lots of chat about the fact that there's going to be a baby.
Yeah.
Just the prepping, really.
Yeah.
I brought her a little present from Asher so that we...
Oh, from Asher, from the baby.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, because normally it's the other way around.
Oh, like the older sibling buys the baby a present. Yeah, no. Asher bought her a present, which she's, like, still to this day talking about how he went shopping in my tummy. Which is very cute. And that actually went well because I ended up not being able to see her for a little bit of time, and she was like at the hospital really eager to see me, and so her dad went out and took her this presents that actually bought everyone some time. So it actually worked out really well.
Nice.
Yeah, so just to try and, you know, strengthen that as soon as we kind of could, that he's here, but you're still really important.
Yeah.
I think we were trying a lot to just give her the amount of normal time that we would, which is pretty much impossible when you're obviously tied up with.
No, damn it. Yeah, I know.
And then every time someone comes around, they want to see the baby, and all of a sudden she's not kind of like the centre of everything anymore. But when I look back, I'm like, although it was challenging, she actually handled it really, really well. But at the time, you're like, this is hard.
You're so good at noticing that stuff, though, that people come into to see the baby, and you know, and you'd expect that.
Yeah.
And there is sometimes we do have that expectation that our eldest child will just kind of wait and not have any feelings in those moments because, you know, because we put judgment on it, don't we? If they, you know, if they decide in those moments that, you know, that's their opportunity to behave in a certain way because they're not getting that attention, we see that as kind of like them being selfish or, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever, yeah.
And I think when you're tired and, you know, you've got all those hormonal things going on, it's actually quite hard to be, you know, thinking about that too.
Yeah.
I think probably my work has really helped that. Like, you know, this is a thing that's come up lots in my mahi. So I think I was maybe even to the other extreme of thinking like, how am I going to make her feel okay with this?
Yeah.
But I also took those opportunities when someone came around to take the baby. I actually grabbed her and like tried to have cuddles with her, you know, while we were all sitting there on the couch or whatever, to have those moments, because I was missing those moments with her too, because she had been the only one I was, you know, as well. So I think it was mutual.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Anything else in there? I think that's really useful though.
Yeah, we had quite a few of those questions, like, do you still love... I still get those questions a little bit. So
do you still love me?
Nearly 6 months and I'm still getting that. And man, it's just like a dagger to the heart.
Yeah.
Do you still love me? So just lots of reassurance and lots of just telling her I loved her, you know. And the other thing I've noticed is so maybe Asha is crying or is upset and I might be helping her with something, actually saying, Asha, I'm coming, but I'm just helping Willow with this at the moment, so that she hears that she's important too. Yeah. That actually right now I'm actually making her the priority, that, he needs me and I am going to come to him, but right now I'm actually just helping her finish off whatever it is that we're doing.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I wish I had you in my life when I'd had my baby. Yeah, cool.
So, but even doing all of those things, it's still challenging, hey? Like, even being really aware, even trying to make sure she's still getting that attention in that time. It's still like we're still getting those questions and you're still like, oh, this is icky. Yeah.
But it's kind of setting it up for success in terms of, you know, their relationship and her relationship still with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think keeping some of those things, like, for instance, she's always really liked us to be in her room when she goes to sleep, whether we're sitting, like, on the floor or next to her or whatever, and that became really tricky suddenly when Asha was around, because it was like, well, especially if you're on your own, like, that's hard. Yeah. But it's something I really didn't want to be taken away from her just because he's come along, you know, like, it's not, if it had happened before, which I actually had tried to do, but here we are. I don't want it to be like this is gone because he is now here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? Because because you do see that when you're working with families, there's this thing about, well, she can't have that anymore, so she just, it's kind of like we just expect them to grow up, like, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, and you can see how that resentment rises.
Definitely. Yeah, all these things have been taken or have stopped because he's here now. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ruined my life.
Yeah, I suppose about that.
Everything was great before that.
And then you've got that internal feeling of like, a big chunk of the reason he is here is because I wanted to give you a sibling. Be thankful and grateful for him.
Yeah, you need to realise that.
Which is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Okay, cool. And then other challenges-y things.
Yeah, challenges. So I think doing this the second time, you try and, like, well, for me anyway, I've definitely tried to prep on things. So, like, breastfeeding, for instance, was really hard for me with Willow. This time I was, like, just mentally trying to prepare myself as much as I possibly could. Yeah. Like, my supply might be really low again, and so how am I going, like, it's absolutely okay if he's having formula. Like, lots of that prep. But then actually when you're in the reality of it and you're hormonal and there's so much going on, it's actually really hard to be okay with that.
Again.
Yeah, again. Same as, you know, sleepless nights and things like that. You're like, I know the reality of this. I know what it looks like preparing yourself. But there's actually no preparing that you could possibly do.
Gutting, isn't it? It is absolutely.
Yeah. So then you just kind of straight back there like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember this.
It's such a, it's almost, it feels, I don't know, if it was like second time round, all of that stuff felt very lonely again.
Yeah, yep.
What is that about?
Yeah, you do feel like you're the only person up in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Yeah, where's
There
that wee support crew?
There is no one else up, and you're like, actually, there's loads of mums everywhere, or dads up, doing this.
Yeah.
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 So that reminder is definitely important.
Yeah, exactly. That's just, it's just made me think about how we can support those middle of the night things, even using our social, like just little tippets for mama and papa that are up in the middle of the night. And yeah. Anyway, sorry, that wasn't podcast material, but hey, that's how ideas form, don't they?
It is. It is. But yeah, I think it is useful to know that there are other people up. Even, like on, say, Messenger, and you can see who's active.
Yes.
And you're like in the middle of the night, and you're like,
should I reach out?
And you're like, no one is active.
Oh, someone is active.
Well, yeah. Someone I haven't talked to in 5 years is active.
I wonder if they'll remember me.
And if I just send them a wee message. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's so funny. And it's so tiring. Like, it's exhausting.
It really is, yeah. Yeah.
You don't know that until you go through it again, do you?
No. And that whole, Andrew and I have been doing that whole, do the dishes when the baby does the dishes. The sleeping when the baby sleeps thing. I'm just like, how ridiculous that is.
Do the dishes when the baby does the dishes. What?
How people say, sleep when the baby sleeps.
Yes.
Right? And so there's even that ad of that lady walking her baby in the pram and the baby falls asleep, and so she just lies down on the road to have a little nap.
Well, that's not healthy. It's a bit dangerous.
Yeah. And then, so it's like, well, when do you do the dishes? When do you do the washing? When the baby does the dishes and when the baby does the washing. This is a ridiculous joke.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Okay.
But I wasn't napping when the baby was napping either.
No, is anyone?
No. I hope so. Because that's what
too.
I hope so.
But it's hard to.
I know, we're bad advertisements, you and I. Bad.
But also real of what's actually happening. So, don't be doing the dishes when the baby's doing the dishes.
There'll be dishes until they're 13.
Yeah.
Yes, tiredness, feeding. Anything else? Sibling stuff.
Yeah. Just those moments that maybe, I think it goes back to that whole what for me, what I struggled with the first time, and so that being a little bit triggering as well when these things crop up.
Yeah.
The second time, you're like, oh, okay, that's not nice, and I thought that I'd maybe dealt with that, and actually, no, that's still there.
Hello, old friend of guilt and shame and whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and now thinking about coming back into work and how, that whole parental guilt thing rises its head again, and managing that. And I feel extremely lucky that I can do lots of my mahi with Asher, but there's still times where I obviously can't. So, navigating that all over again.
Yeah. It's kind of like a new world. It's like your old world in a new way, hey?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just, how did I get through this last time? And what worked and what didn't work as well. I think that's helpful to reflect on too.
What didn't work?
Just thinking about what did work to get me through this parental guilt and those sorts of feelings going back to work after having Willow.
Yeah.
And maybe what didn't work.
Yeah, but what were the things that didn't work? Sorry,
yeah. So, for instance, maybe even around just relying on other people to support me with him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I struggle with that, even just having other people support me all the time. So is other caring options a way that might help with that so that I'm not solely relying on kind of my village to do that. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
I'm also still...
I'm worried where Asher is. I'm not relying on your village, or who are you relying on?
Asher is with my mum at the moment. But I think, when you're constantly having to ask someone, would you mind having... And they don't mind.
No.
They love it.
Yeah.
Like, they want to have them every moment they can.
It's that thing about what we need to recognise what sits with us.
Yeah.
And not others.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of the ways. It's actually it's one of the ways that we know that we're drawing on our resilience is when we can reach out for help.
Yeah, I think I need to work on that.
But because most of the way that we draw upon resilience are in a kind of like reactive way, like. I don't know, somebody changes the computer system at work or something like that, and so we have to kind of like just, it's kind of like we have to kind of move and deal with it because it's kind of coming at us, whereas that reaching out for help is that kind of like we're taking some kind of responsibility and...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I think about it like that.
Okay.
I'm working on building my resilience by asking for help.
Okay. I'll check in on that next week.
Sounds good.
We're about to finish up. Is there any last little gems?
Little gems. I think just trying to be in the moment with it all, as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Which is really easier said than done.
Yeah.
But actually just trying to enjoy all those little moments because you know that before you know it, they're starting school.
Yeah. And maybe some reminders on the fridge or wherever you're reaching to when you're washing your hands, because don't you wash your hands a lot when you've got a new baby?
You really do.
You really do. And little reminders like that around that just say it's okay, just be present.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing great. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Cool. So for our top tips today, number one tip around the sibling stuff. So introducing a new sibling, thinking about what it's like from our older child's perspective and how we can really support them through this journey of introducing a new whānau member, knowing that, it doesn't matter their age, it's still a huge change. And so, kind of walking alongside them as much as we can in that journey. Number two, I think we can do all the preparation in the world becoming a parent again, but knowing that often we do just have to kind of roll with what comes up and know that we are doing our very best, and that is absolutely okay. Number three, try and enjoy those moments and be as present as we possibly can. So, just actually sit down with your cuppa and enjoy your little pepe.
Beautiful. If you want to see more of what we do and what we're about, please come and join us on our social pages, so Instagram and Facebook at Real Parents NZ. And if you're interested in looking back over previous podcasts where we talk about all things parenting, do that by looking up Being Real Parents at Plains FM 96.9 on the website.
Awesome. Thanks for being with us today.
We hope you've learned that while parenting is challenging sometimes, that's totally normal. It's been fun having you with us. Keep being amazing. Bye!